What would you do if you were face to face with one of the world's deadliest predators? In 1997, a man named Vladimir Markov found himself in precisely that position, deep in the Siberian wilderness, armed with nothing more than his hunting skills and a shotgun. But what happened next was a chilling reminder of just how little we understand about the true nature of these majestic animals. Join me as we explore the story of a horrifying big cat attack that killed a poacher and the bizarre events that followed. You won't want to miss a single moment of this gripping tale. Vladimir Markov, a man who had worked as a beekeeper in the past and was an accomplished hunter and fisherman, had a friend drive him and his dogs to the cabin he owned in the woods approximately 50 miles away from his hometown of Luchagorsk in the winter of 1997. After unloading his gear, Markov's friend left, and Markov settled into the cabin to get ready for the next day's hunt, which would take place the following morning. In spite of the fact that he was worn out from the arduous drive, he was successful in preparing a speedy dinner before retiring to bed for a restful night's sleep. The following day, Markov took his dogs with him and went into the woods with the intention of capturing any animal that he could sell on the black market in China for a sizable amount of money. They were making their way through the forest when they came across some enormous paw prints. Markov was able to identify them as belonging to a massive male Siberian tiger almost immediately. Markov and the other members of his pack were eager to make a significant kill, so they began to follow the tiger through the forest. As they did so, they came across another set of tracks that belonged to a boar. They were getting closer and closer to the end of the trail when the dog started to growl and bark, which was a sign that the tiger was not far away. Markov raised his head and made eye contact with the beast, which was hunched over the carcass of the boar it had just killed. The tiger maintained its composure and rejected Markov's request to hand over its prey. Markov raised his shotgun to his shoulder and took aim at the cat. He unleashed a round of fire at the tiger, which caused it to run into the thick bush that was covered in snow. Markov was pleased by the prospect that the boar meat from the kill would fetch a high price on the black market. He was under the impression that the gunshot had put an end to the tiger's life. After removing the majority of the meat from the hog's carcass, Markov searched for the tiger's bloody footprints on the ground. On the other hand, he noticed that the amount of blood decreased with each step and that the tiger did not appear to be as badly injured as he had hoped it would be. After being dissatisfied, he went back to his cabin. Markov used the meat from the boar to feed himself and his dogs and to store a hindquarter in the well head of his hive for later consumption. He traveled to the nearest town in order to trade it for some ammunition and camping equipment. While this was going on, the tiger went back to where it had killed its prey and discovered that all of the meat had been eaten. The tiger was able to locate Markov and his dogs by following the trail of scent left by them all the way back to their cabin, thanks to its acute sense of smell. After a long day in the city, Markov returns home in the evening feeling ecstatic about the deal he made for a hind haunch. In the meantime, outside the cabin, a tiger is seen sneaking up to the beehive wellhead in order to retrieve the hindquarter it had stashed. However, in doing so, it causes the wellhead to be destroyed. The tiger, weak from exhaustion and injury, drags the boar's carcass close to the cabin, where it then consumes it to restore its strength. Even the most seasoned animal behaviorists who studied the incident came to the conclusion that the tiger's actions were inexplicable. The tiger is still dissatisfied despite the fact that it ate only a small portion of the boar it had killed before Markov and his dogs arrived, as it had anticipated consuming a much larger quantity of meat before they did. The tiger eventually becomes enraged and moves closer to the cabin, which causes Markov's dogs to make a lot of noise. Markov analyzes the situation, notices the tiger, retrieves his shotgun, and fires another shot at the animal, which was already injured. Before Markov can take another shot, the tiger manages to escape, and it is no longer visible. Markov had a restless night because he spent the whole time watching the odd behavior of the tiger. Markov was reminded of the stories he had heard from the locals about the vindictive nature of the taiga tigers when the tiger returned. Despite having already claimed a portion of the kill that he had made, as soon as the sun began to rise, Markov made the decision to go to the cabin of his close friend Duncha and inquire about getting a ride back to Luchagorsk. Markov recounted the unusual events to his friend, hoping to leave immediately. However, due to the extremely cold temperatures, Duncha's vehicle had already drained its radiator fluid, forcing Markov to stay the night. Markov, on the other hand, was intent on squaring off against the tiger on his own before returning to the cabin. While Markov was getting ready to depart from his friend's cabin, the injured tiger arrived at the cabin and entered, becoming enraged by the strong scent of Markov's belongings that were on his belongings. The tiger started destroying everything in the cabin, both on the inside and the outside, that had Markov's scent on it, and it didn't leave anything alone in the process. After destroying Markov's cabin, the tiger retreats to its hiding place in the crook of a low-hanging spruce tree, where it eagerly anticipates his return. As Markov arrives at his cabin in the darkness of night, he fails to notice the missing door and walks past the tiger's hiding spot. Markov is ambushed by the tiger, which then launches a vicious attack on him, causing his jaw to break and ripping him apart. The tiger, in contrast to the typical method of killing their prey, which consists of breaking the victim's neck or spine, methodically tore Markov apart, causing him unimaginable levels of physical pain in the process. The tiger does not show any mercy toward Markov, despite the fact that it had been injured. It is motivated solely by vengeance. After the attack, authorities who deal with wildlife and investigators visit the scene to conduct an investigation and collect evidence to help them determine what caused the attack. Markov's dogs were also killed by the tiger, and his thrashed belongings further suggest the tiger's rage. A horrifying discovery is made as they find a human femur bone with flesh residue outside the cabin, resembling a scene from a horror movie. After tracking the blood trail for a few hundred yards, they came upon the hunter's lifeless body, partially eaten and well preserved in the cold with a look of terror on his face. However, the story did not end there. The tiger, having consumed the hunter, was now on the hunt for more prey. It remembered how easy it was to take down Markov despite his injuries, and arrived at a small camp where he used to stay. The familiar scent emanating from the outhouse enraged the tiger, who saw him as an enemy. In a fit of rage, the tiger ransacked the outhouse, injuring itself further. A hunting party, led by head tracker Yuri Trush and flanked by 2 of his men, was formed to put a stop to the man-eating tiger's reign of terror. The 3 men were successful in tracking down the tiger and were able to take it down with a remarkable 13 high-powered rifle shots. Trush provided a gruesome account of the tiger's final moments, describing how the tiger had already attacked him before he had a chance to fire his first 2 shots. Trush's men fired the remaining 11 bullets, ultimately killing the tiger. Upon returning to the taiga village, the men displayed their kill to the local people before proceeding to skin the animal. It was during the skinning process that they discovered evidence of the tiger's previous encounters with humans, including wounds inflicted by lead balls. Wow, what an intense and horrifying story of a big cat attack that led to the death of a poacher. The events that transpired in this story highlight the dangers of underestimating wild animals and the importance of respecting their habitat. It's a stark reminder that we are not the only predators on this planet, and that we must take precautions when we venture into the wilderness. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you at the next one.